Hi friends, welcome to English Study Point. Today in this video lecture I am going to continue with another part of Geoffrey Chaucer's The Nun's Priest's Tale. This meant as he lay sleeping it would seem. So the narration or this narrative opens with a description of a man in a peaceful slumber, suggesting that something significant is about to unfold. The phrase, it would seem, introduces an element of uncertainty. Just before dawn had an astounding dream. So the mention of dawn symbolizes new beginnings, while the term astounding dream indicates that the content of this dream would be or it will be crucial to the story's outcome. He thought a man was standing by his bed. So this introduces a supernatural element, suggesting that the dream felt vivid and real. It implies the presence of an authoritative figure, foreshadowing a message of importance, commanding him to wait, and thus he said. So the figure's command suggests urgency and implies that the man's actions could lead to dire consequences. This also sets up a conflict between fate and free will. If you set sail tomorrow as you intend. So this reveals that the man has plans to embark on a journey. The direct warning highlights a clash between the man's intent and the foreboding message from his dream. You will be drowned, my tale is at an end. So the stark warning serves as a narrative climax. The succinct message, you will be drowned, creates tension and suggests a fatalistic view of life. He woke and told his friend what had occurred. So, after experiencing a powerful dream, the man feels compelled to share his foreboding revelation with a companion. This establishes the importance of communication in the face of danger and begged him that the journey be deferred. So, his plea to postpone the journey emphasizes his fear in the weight of the dream, showing his internal conflict between reason and superstition. At least a day implored him not to start. So the insistence on deferring the journey highlights the men's desperation and belief in the dream's prophetic nature, amplifying the tension in their relationship. But his companion lying there apart. So the phrase lying there apart emphasizes a separation between the two friends, both physically and ideologically, setting the stage for the conflict between belief and skepticism. Began to laugh and treat him to derision. So the companion's response shows a dismissive attitude towards dreams. This reflects common attitude in society towards superstition and prediction, emphasizing rationality over intuition. Then we see, I am not afraid, he said, of any vision. His declaration signifies confidence in his own beliefs. It embodies a common skepticism regarding dreams, presenting a foil to the dreamer's mindset. To let it interfere with my affairs, this line suggests that practical concerns outweigh emotional warnings. The companion prioritizes immediate reality over abstract fears, showcasing a pragmatic worldview. A straw for all your dreamings and your scares. So the saying a straw implies that he considers that the dream insignificant, dismissing it as overly whimsical, further highlighting the dichotomy between the two characters' perspectives. Dreams are just empty nonsense, merest japes. So this proclamation encapsulates the companion's disdain for dreams. He trivializes the dream, indicating that he perceives them as mere tricks of the mind without any deeper significance. Why people dream all day of owls and apes? So by providing examples like owls and apes, the companion suggests that dreams are random and nonsensical, reinforcing his argument against taking them seriously. All sorts of trash that can't be understood. So this reinforces the idea that dreams lack coherence and rationality, positing that they are not reliable indicators of reality or omens. Things that have never happened and never could. So the companion concludes by emphasizing the absurdity of dreams, arguing that they cannot predict the future or provide genuine insight into life. Now moving on to another stanza. We see, but as I see you mean to stay behind. So this line suggests a character observing another's reluctance or indecision. The emphasis on stay behind indicates a missed opportunity. and miss the tide for willful sloth of mind. So, the mention of the tide symbolizes a crucial moment or opportunity that is passing. Willful sloth of mind critiques the choices of laziness over action, suggesting negligence. God knows, I am sorry for it, but good day. So, the speaker expresses a pang of regret about the other's choice but ultimately decides to part ways, implying a deep disappointment, and so he took his leave and went his way. So the departure underscores the finality and seriousness of the situation, indicating a distinct separation of values or paths. And yet, before they had covered half the trip. So this signals a turning point in the narrative. The use of before they have had covered half the trip suggests that the consequences of prior decisions manifest quickly. I don't know what went wrong. There was a rip. Here, introducing uncertainty, this line indicates unforeseen trouble. The rip symbolizes a break or disaster that disrupts the journey, and by some accident, the ship went down. So, the phrase by some accident highlights the randomness of misfortune and also emphasizing that disaster can strike unexpectedly. Her bottom rent, all hands abroad to drawn. So, this graphic image shows the severity of the disaster. Her bottom rent emphasizes vulnerability, and all hands abroad to drawn evokes tragic loss in sight of all the vessels at her side. So, this situates the disaster in a larger context, provoking thoughts about the futility of their efforts and the isolation felt in calamity despite others being nearby that had put out upon the self same tide. So the phrase connects with earlier themes about missed opportunities. Here it highlights that others are in the same situation, yet they may experience different fates. So, my dear Pertilot, if you discern, so the address to Pertilot introduces a personal element, suggesting a lesson is being shared with a close companion. The force of these examples you may learn. So, the speaker invites Pertilot to reflect on the preceding events as moral lessons, underlining the value of awareness and caution. One never should be careless about dreams. This line suggests that dreams should be taken seriously, positing them as potential warnings rather than mere fantasies. For undeniably, I say it seems, so the speaker's assertion that dreams have significance reinforces the need for introspection regarding one's aspirations and fears, that many are a sign of trouble breeding. So the conclusion draws on the established theme, emphasizing that unheeded dreams may foreshadow impending problems of misfortunes that arise from negligence. Now take St. Callum's life, which I have been reading. So the speaker introduces St. Callum, indicating that he draws from a source of literature. The word life suggests the saint's biography, hinting at its moral or religious significance. He was Canulphus' son, the noble king. Establishing Callum's lineage, this line identifies him as a noble figure, connecting him to a dynasty that adds to his importance and the gravity of his story. Of Mercia, now St. Callum dreamed a thing. So the location Mercia anchors Callum in history and geography. The anticipation of the dream suggests foreshadowing, introducing a pivotal plot point shortly before they murdered him one day. So this candid statement reveals the tragic fate awaiting Callum, creating an atmosphere of impending doom and settling the stakes for the tale. He saw his murder in a dream, I say. So the repetition of I say emphasizes the dream's direct connection to reality, suggesting that dreams can be prophetic and warrant attention. His nurse expounded it and gave her reasons. So the nurse serves as a protective figure, interpreting the dream's meaning. This introduces an authority figure who provides wisdom that might prevent tragedy on every point and warn him against treasons. So the nurse's detailed explanation and warnings suggest that there are multiple layers of meanings in dreams, specifically questioning against betrayal or trickery. But as the saint was only 7 years old, so by highlighting Callum's youth, it evokes sympathy, suggesting his innocence and vulnerability in the face of ominous warnings. All that she said about it left him gold. So Callum's indifference to the warnings reflects a child's naive understanding of danger, emphasizing a poignant contrast between knowledge and innocence. He was so wholly high, how could visions hurt? So the statement implies a belief in Callum's inherent sanctity, suggesting that he felt protected due to his pity, displaying a theme of faith versus reality. By God I willingly would give my sword. So the speaker expresses a dramatic willingness to sacrifice something valuable, his sword, for the pleasure of hearing the tale, emphasizing his desire to engage with the story, to have you read his legend as I have read it. So, this line conveys a longing for shared knowledge and experience, highlighting the importance of storytelling in conveying moral lessons. And Madame Berthelot upon my credit. So, that direct address to Berthelot involves her in the narrative, establishing her as a listener, while the term upon my credit reaffirms the speaker's credibility. Macrobius wrote of dreams and can explain us. So, the reference to Macrobius, a classical author known for discussing dreams, lends authority to the speaker's argument about their significance, aligning with scholarly tradition. The vision of young Scipio Africanus. So, mentioning Scipio Africanus ties in historical context, associating the theme of dreams with notable figures, showing that prophetic dreams transcend time. And he affirms that dreams can give a due. So, this assertion reinforces the central theme that dreams possess power capable of offering warnings about future events, warning of things that later on come true. So the closing line encapsulates the cautionary theme, underscoring the idea that dreams are not mere fantasies but can hold significant truths about one's fate. Then with this video lecture ends here. Hope this video lecture will help you in your exams. Thank you.